This is the second part of the video I did about making sauerkraut, and there you can see it's been sitting with a weight on it for 16 days. It took to get it to the point where I want it, and you have to go back and just kind of skim off that foam every day. And every couple of days, I take a little test of it until it was right at the point where I wanted. So this involves canning, and like any other canning project, first thing I did was dig out the jars and start to get them washed up good in hot soapy water and get them in a pot and start to steam them and sterilize them before I started on the kraut. And then I took the kraut and took all the weights off that were in the jar. And like I said, it's at the point that I really like it. It's been 16 days, and it's has a wonderful flavor. It's got like a sweet, a sour, and a salty flavor all in one. It's really a really great batch. The cabbage was really sweet this year. So then I just take the that crock, and I have a very large old stainless steel pot that I put it in. It takes a little bit of prying and work to get it out because it was packed in there so tight when you tried to make it. So I just put it in a pot and try to start to loosen the clumps up a little bit and try to break it down a little bit, and then just put it on the stove and start to heat it up. It takes quite a while to get this heated up. It's a really big batch, and you have to just keep taking the top off and stirring it and trying to mix it up and get it heated evenly while you're at it. And the Ball Blue book says to bring it up to 180 degrees. So I check it with my little thermopop instant read thermometer. Well, it's almost instant read. It's like a 5-second one. And once I see it's at about 180, I just keep really stirring it and checking it and making sure that the whole batch throughout is loosened up and there are no cold spots in it or anything. It's all at the 180 degrees just to be able to do a good hot pack. So that'll with that at proper temperature, I take the jars that I've had in the canner bath sterilizing and steaming, and take them out, put them on a piece of wood cutting board, just so that there's no shock and no cracking in them. And you get ready to start filling them. Now, if you've seen some of my other videos, it's basically the same thing over and over again in each video. And first thing I do is I take the jars and try to put as much sauerkraut in as I can. It takes a fork to get it pushed down through that funnel. I like to use the 12-ounce jars and 16-ounce jars for it because the 12 ounce is just right for a couple hot dogs, and you don't have any waste. So first thing I do is I push some down in all the jars, get them all pretty much filled, and then I'll go back and I'll take the that little canning helper thing that I have there, and I'll add the liquid from the bottom of the pot and try to poke that thing down in there and get any air bubbles out and get them filled with the liquid from the kraut. And you want to make sure there's no air bubbles left when you're done, and try to get it up to the proper headspace, which the Ball Blue book calls for a 1/2-inch headspace on this. But the big thing is to make sure that you really do get all the air bubbles out. Then I take that little canning helper, and like I've said before, you just use the notches. This is 1/2-inch headspace, so it's 2 notches down. Then I take a damp paper towel and go back over the edges there, like you see, and just make sure that there's nothing on the edges to interfere with the seal. And in the meantime, I've had the lids in a pot just kind of coming up to a simmer. Don't get them too hot or boil them, but just get them hot enough to soften the seal up. And you just put them on, and then put on I put the rings on loosely to start out with, and I'll put all the rings on. And you're dealing with kind of not really boiling hot here, but you're dealing with hot stuff, so you want to be careful how long you touch it or anything, because you can get burned with this stuff. And then once I get all the rings started on the jars, I'll go back and kind of snug them up a little bit to the proper snugness for the canning process. I got that little silicone holder that really helps to keep you from getting burned and keeps jars from slipping. Then it's back into the water bath pot. And you have to be real careful here, as I said before, because you're dealing with a lot of steam that is extremely hot, so you don't want to get your hands in it or keep your hands over it for too long. You could get burned. And in this batch, the first run, I was able to get 11 jars of the 12-ounce size in the pot. And then basically you just turn the heat up and bring the pot up to a boil. Once it starts boiling, you set the timer. Ball Blue Book calls for 15 minutes for pints. So these are a little smaller than a pint. I'm going to use a 15-minute timeout. Check it. Make sure it stays boiling the whole time. And then just, watch it. And when it counts down, it's time to remove the jars from the boiling water. Now, you can leave them sit in there and let it all cool down if you're not going to do another batch. But, I have more to do. So basically, I'm just going to carefully remove the jars. And then I have some wood racks that I'm going to put them on so you don't get any kind of shock or anything that could cause the glass to break or the jar to crack or anything. So there you can see I'm just putting them on some racks now to cool. And there's a little bit of apple butter that we made this morning before I started the sauerkraut sitting there cooling also. So basically I got the first batch out. Now it's time to start a second batch, and it's the exact same thing as the first batch, except for you have to put the jars into some, warm water this time, so you have to be extremely careful. And this time you can see I used some pints, and I used another one of those 12-ounce jars in the end too. So it's the same thing over and over again, and same process. And here they are. Basically, they're all done now. So in the end, I wound up out of that batch of kraut, I wound up getting 12 12-ounce jars and 6 of the 16-ounce jars. So there it is. You can see how easy it really is to make and preserve sauerkraut from this video. And I hope you try to make some and enjoy the flavor of it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.